we're going to talk today about what it takes to be viewed as a trusted advisor for an internal auditor. Karen and Craig, I was wondering if you could just give me some comments about how you've put yourself in a position to be viewed as a trusted advisor with your stakeholders.
Don't get me wrong, it's very important that we continue our traditional function of financial audits, compliance, regulatory. But in addition to that, I really think that we need to kind of have a bigger picture perspective and step up our game with our strategic audits.
As Chief Financial Officer, I am utilizing audit and I'm utilizing them as the trusted advisor. So I really rely on my auditor to have the finger of the pulse of the organization, to understand not only from a tactical standpoint, but a cultural standpoint, what's going on, and helping to identify the weaknesses and controls that may not necessarily come up from a compliance check or a tick and tie test, if you will, but more get ahead of the game and understand from a future state where things are heading, where risk is going to be 6 months, 12 months from now, and make sure that we're having the discussion now about the business changes that we need to make in order to make sure that we're ready to address those risks when they do arrive.
I think one of the biggest challenges that we have as internal auditors is frankly getting past the stereotype within organizations that we're just a bunch of bean counters and people who just check the box. Personally, I think one of the challenges, the way I've tried to overcome that challenge, is starts with the hiring decisions. When you're building a team and making decisions about hiring, looking for people who want to be trusted advisors, even at the more junior level. Looking for people, if you're hiring experienced candidates, for people who have had experience doing good audit work beyond just a check the box or sometimes compliance oriented.
The other thing that really impressed me about an internal auditor that's looking for a seat at the table, if you will, is when the conversations start with the C-suite. That internal audit, whether it's the chief internal auditor or an audit director, it doesn't matter the position, but an auditor that'll sit down and say, I want to become your trusted advisor. What does that look like? Let me understand what I can do to help you.
One of the things that I've tried to do, and I would encourage others to do, but I think it's obviously very different depending upon your organization, is to be a trusted advisor, you really have to understand your business. We can't take this for granted that audit is audit. And I think there are auditors who believe that. And I certainly think there are stakeholders who believe that. One of the things I've tried to do is what I call see the business, is get out there, have all my team members get out there, and actually do what it is that whatever your organization does. See that portion.
You can never gain that status, that trusted advisor status, or the seat at the table that you're looking for, if the animosity in that relationship exists. You've got to figure out a way to walk that very fine line, and we've done it our whole careers. I did it when I was a chief internal auditor, and I've done it even more now as a CFO, to walk that fine line to where you communicate effectively but report very statically to the board and make sure you're keeping both sides of that.
It is a very fine line, the fine line between I'm independent and I'm a team player.
Exactly.
And you're not going to get the cooperation you need, regardless of the fact that you're independent, if you're not a team player and you don't communicate appropriately and keep the right people informed of the right things, and again, recognize that your job, just like their job, is doing the best thing for the organization.
Trusted advisor, is that a mentor? And how does that relate, those two terms, trusted advisor and mentor?
It's imperative that I have that knowledge transfer. So when you're talking about more of a mentor relationship, it's really a two-way street. As you said, I expect the internal auditors to be very astute and my subject matter expert in certain areas, but I also expect them to educate the organization as well. So an audit isn't just an audit. An audit is an education process. An opening meeting isn't just communicating the expectations of the audit. It's here's why we're doing it this way. Here's why we have to do the audit. Here's the details of the things that we need to look at. So there is a knowledge transfer. It's better to have 20 people that know exactly what's going on instead of one person that knows absolutely everything and 19 people following. It helps from a trusted advisor standpoint. It helps from a career progression standpoint because I need those individuals trained and ready to take the next step. So from a mentor-mentee relationship, if you continue to have that two-way street, it's going to help on both sides, and it's really going to build that trust factor. And let's face it, at the end of the day, the more you trust your internal audit function, the more successful they're going to be.